Nearly 2 long years have passed since The Mandalorian's second season was finished, and 9 months have passed since viewers last witnessed their beloved bounty hunter engaged in combat in Mos Espa. Disney has announced there would be a slight delay in the release of The Mandalorian Season 3. Find out the new release date by watching this video, also for highlights of Season 2 and what to expect in Season 3. First up, The Mandalorian Season 2 review. In terms of plot, complexity, and emotional resonance, The Mandalorian has always been a kind of Star Wars program without taking itself too seriously. The episodes are usually presented as missions with a specific base to infiltrate, a person to save, or magical items to give in each one. Despite being the same, each episode's atmosphere never becomes stale or redundant. It's similar to playing a game that grows better as you complete more and more missions. Based once more on that model, The Mandalorian Season 2 gives Baby Yoda's storyline a satisfying and captivating conclusion. Up next on The Mandalorian Season 2 review is Episode 1, The Marshal. The second season of The Mandalorian opens with The Mandalorian joining forces with the Marshal. The Marshal, played by Timothy Olyphant, wears Mandalorian armor, which belonged to Boba Fett. Jon Favreau directed this episode of The Mandalorian, and it maintained the beloved Mandalorian atmosphere. This time, the objective is to thwart a crate dragon that creeps beneath the desert and sucks villagers like a murder vacuum. The combat sequence in Episode 1 was orchestrated with a certain ingenuity, and the entire fight effectively highlighted the various skills found in the Mandalorian armor. Next is Episode 2, The Passenger. In the episode, The Passenger, the Mandalorian transports a frog lady's eggs to a remote village to learn crucial information about other Mandalorians. Mando is stuck in this spider-filled cave as the Resistance attempts to capture him. The conversations between Mando and the frog woman didn't offer anything, and Grogu gulping eggs at random was meant to be funny, but ended up being excessive. And following is Episode 3, The Heiress. Bo-Katan first appears in The Heiress, the third episode. Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode. It was a lot of fun. The character interplay between the opposing pilots and the effective use of action led to some entertaining situations. The quest to obtain the dark saber fuels Bo-Katan. Therefore, since he is the one who has it, going to Moff Gideon is her best option. Bo-Katan tells the Mandalorian to see a Jedi named Ahsoka Tano after they foil Gideon's plan to crash the spaceship. Up next is Episode 4, The Siege. Carl Weathers, who plays Greef Karga in The Mandalorian, is behind the camera for the fourth episode. Finally coming together with Cara Dune and Greef, Mando makes the decision to shut down one of the few Imperial bases standing in Navarro. Watching the entire scenario of destroying the base and taking off on the spaceship was epic. Following is Episode 6, The Tragedy. Robert Rodriguez, the filmmaker of El Mariachi and Alita, Battle Angel, directed The Tragedy. Boba Fett, whose armor has been retrieved by the Mandalorian, is introduced in The Tragedy. Boba declares he owes Mando a favor once his armor returns to him safely and sets out to deliver Grogu to a Jedi. In contrast to the other Star Wars films, Boba Fett now genuinely embodies brutality and unforgivingness in his actions and savagery. Up next is the final episode 8, The Rescue. Peyton Reed returned to helm the final episode, The Rescue, and this time he much improved upon his earlier work as the director of Episode 2. In Episode 6, Grogu was kidnapped by dark troopers. To recover him, the entire squad commandeers Moff Gideon's ship. They use Boba Fett's assistance to create a distraction to board the spacecraft. Together with her team, Bo-Katan advances on Moff Gideon after helping to destroy the defense troops stationed at the base. Dark troopers greet them. They now appear even more menacing than before. The combat between Mando and Moff Gideon followed, but as dark troopers approach the cockpit in a circle, an X-Wing appears, and Grogu senses the entrance of a Jedi right away. Up next are the top 5 questions ahead of Season 3. The first question is, how will Din Djarin's appearance in the Book of Boba Fett affect The Mandalorian Season 3? Din Djarin permitted and encouraged Grogu to join Luke Skywalker in Jedi training after The Mandalorian Season 2. In addition to The Mandalorian taking off his helmet and revealing his face to the child, this heroic task caused many Star Wars fans to cry. However, this was not the last time we saw the bounty hunter. Along with helping the title character in Season 1 of the Book of Boba Fett, the bounty hunter also gained additional knowledge about the darksaber he now wields. Due to Bo-Katan's proximity, Din Djarin has a greater claim to the saber, but many questions still need to be answered. Din Djarin challenged him about his horrible behavior in taking off his helmet. In what is undoubtedly the best episode of the Book of Boba Fett, this appearance saw him being assigned to go back to Mandalore to make amends for this misdeed. The next question is, will the Mandalorian receive forgiveness for breaking the holy rule of taking off his helmet and revealing his face? Din Djarin's voyage to his native planet of Mandalore appears to be the main focus of The Mandalorian Season 3's opening episode. Mando has already appeared twice in the series, and the situation reaction was significantly different each time, but given how clear-cut the Mandalorians see the situation to be, it does matter. Clips from the hero saying, "I'm heading to Mandalore so that I may be forgiven for my misdeeds," were displayed over the summer at the Star Wars Celebration. Other videos were also made available, showing Bo-Katan pursuing the darksaber she thinks is rightfully hers. These two narratives may continue to be related because Bo-Katan is the one who revealed to Din Djarin that not all Mandalorians wear helmets. Mando and Bo-Katan have respect for one another, although they initially had blasters aimed in their direction. The former ruler of the planet may offer assistance to Din Djarin as he encounters difficulties on Mandalore. Next question is, who will be showing up in The Mandalorian Season 3? Luke Skywalker's role as the Jedi Knight who saved Grogu, the Mandalorian, and the other heroes from certain death was, without a doubt, the biggest surprise cameo in any of the show's first 2 seasons. Additionally, some fresh faces who have already won over the crowd may appear. The already announced appearances of Peli Motto, Greef Karga, and the Armorer include characters like Cobb Vanth, Migs Mayfield, Boba Fett, and Fennec Shand, who may also make an appearance. Additionally, enemies like Dr. Pershing and Moff Gideon have been revealed. Although these characters are currently established, some new performers have been introduced. Therefore, there are now some fresh faces. First, there's Christopher Lloyd, everyone's favorite time-traveling scientist. Lloyd will be fascinating and interesting in the galaxy far, far away because of his 60-year career. The comedian Tim Meadows, a former cast member of SNL, is next. The Mandalorian has already seen success with Horatio Sands, so Meadows ought to do the same. Next up, what is next for the child's journey into becoming a Jedi? In one of the Book of Boba Fett's episodes, Grogu was given as much attention as Din Djarin. Grogu had to decide whether to continue on the road of a Jedi or stick with his connections and complete his training in this instance. With his Beskar chainmail armor, the child decided to aid the Mandalorian and board R2-D2. Grogu's Jedi and Force training was placed on hold, and it may come to an end, even though it was a nice and romantic moment between a de facto father and son relationship. What will happen to this untapped strength now that Grogu has already demonstrated how powerful the Force link may be and how sensitive he still is to it? Grogu is still an impressionable child, and given Mando's violent behavior, there is a question of whether Grogu should be spared from witnessing the suffering and death brought about by his father. Next, will Grogu show his true allegiance to the light or dark side? Many people have hypothesized that Grogu's acts have alternated between employing the light side and the dark side of the Force. Choking Cara Dune was an understandable response to her threat against Mando, but it still does not change the fact that Sith is the primary entity that employs this method. Concerning the earlier query, Mando has undoubtedly left an aggressive impact on the child, for better or worse, and has the potential to mold this tiny being without his knowledge. Many people throughout the galaxy may experience problems if Grogu follows the Sith's path. It would be interesting to watch where the two go from here, given how frequently the intimate link between them has been highlighted and wonderfully expressed. Finally, Disney announces a slight delay in the release of The Mandalorian Season 3. According to Star Wars, Season 3 of The Mandalorian will now air on Disney Plus later than originally planned. December 18th will make it 2 years since Luke Skywalker appeared in the breathtaking Season 2 conclusion of The Mandalorian. 2 years is a long time to wait between seasons, especially as the fans are still recovering from the shock of that unexpected cameo. The Book of Boba Fett saw the return of the galaxy's favorite father and son, setting the stage for Season 3 and Mando's trip to Mandalore. After Season 1 of Andor on Disney Plus ended, all eyes turned to the anticipated 3rd season of the original live-action Star Wars series. New information, however, indicates that fans might need to hold off a little longer than initially thought. The Mandalorian's 3rd season will now premiere on March 1st, 2023, as opposed to its initial February 2023 timeframe, according to a statement from Star Wars. At Star Wars Celebration, a February release was initially announced. The show's trailer only revealed the season's streaming date during the D23 Expo. The show's February release date was already different from its customary fall schedule. Season 1 previously aired on November 12, 2019, and Season 2 debuted on October 30th, 2020. With the new release date now on March 1st, 2023, fans can sit back and expect a thrilling Season 3. The reason for the delay, however, remains unknown. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you in the next video.